Hey everyone, today we're diving into a really powerful framework. It's designed to help you solve those complex, messy business problems that, let's be honest, can keep leaders up at night. So let's get right into it. I want to kick things off with a question I'm sure we've all asked ourselves at some point. You've got this critical project, the stakes are sky high, and then it just stalls. It gets stuck. Why on earth does this happen so often? Well, here's the thing. The business world we're operating in now is just different. Initiatives aren't simple anymore. You've got way more stakeholders to manage, the risks are higher, and the deadlines are always tighter. The old way of doing things, just tracking tasks on a spreadsheet, it just can't keep up with this level of complexity. So how do we deal with this? The answer isn't some new fancy piece of software or a different kind of chart. It's actually a fundamental shift in our thinking. It's about moving beyond just management and stepping into true leadership. Let's break down what that really looks like. Now, let's be super clear. Project management is absolutely essential. You've got to align teams, you've got to track activities. But, that's kind of just checking the boxes. Project leadership. That's about inspiring your team to win. It's the human side of things. It's driving engagement, motivating people, and making sure everyone is pulling in the same direction because they truly want to. And that brings us to this core idea, project leadership. You can think of it as the engine that really powers success. It's all about combining those solid management techniques with the people skills needed to motivate your team, to get out ahead of problems, and to build a culture of accountability from top to bottom. Okay, so we've got the concept down. Now let's put this framework to the test in the real world. We'll start with one of the biggest, highest stakes challenges any company can take on, executing strategic growth. This quote just nails the challenge, doesn't it? And there's really no better example than a merger or an acquisition. The potential is absolutely massive. This idea that 1 + 1 can actually equal 3. But getting there? Wow. It is an incredibly complex process where getting it right is everything. So how does project leadership actually help here? Well, it's about so much more than just merging two IT systems. It's about navigating really sensitive negotiations. It's about blending different company cultures. And, this is key, it's about empowering your employees through all that change so they feel like part of the solution, not just victims of it. It's about tailoring the whole approach to that unique deal, not just using some cookie-cutter plan. And this idea applies to another huge challenge. Think about it. Almost every company has a beautiful vision statement hanging on a wall somewhere. But as this quote points out, the real magic, the thing that separates the winners from the rest, is turning that vision into strategy, and then turning that strategy into real, tangible action. That's the gap where so many great ideas just fizzle out. And this is where that leadership framework becomes your roadmap. It forces you to get incredibly specific, not just setting some vague direction, but prioritizing the handful of initiatives that will actually move the needle. You break that big strategy down into measurable goals, which creates clarity and real accountability. It's not just about having a plan, it's about building the organizational muscle to actually deliver on it. Okay, you might be thinking, this is great for these huge one-off strategic projects. But this framework is just as powerful when you apply it to the very core of your business, to optimizing the day-to-day operations that really define your company. Let's take the supply chain. Talk about pressure, right? Between sourcing issues, crazy swings in demand, and rising costs, today's supply chains are under a ton of stress. To be a real competitive advantage, they can't just be cheap. They have to be resilient and able to respond to a world that is constantly changing. And here's how the framework brings some order to all that chaos. It's a really disciplined, step-by-step approach. You start with the hard data to find the real inefficiencies. Then you find the hidden risks and you plan for them. You look at technology, not just for the sake of it, but as a real solution. And then, maybe the most important step, you drive buy-in from everyone involved. Because a perfectly designed process that nobody uses is, useless. So let's look at a real-world win here. There was this global telecom company, and on paper, their product development process looked solid. But in reality, they were struggling. They just couldn't get new products out the door fast enough. Inefficiencies and slow decisions were really holding them back. So they brought in this leadership framework to guide the team. And the results? 40%. They got products to market 40% faster than similar projects inside the exact same company. Let that sink in. That's not a small tweak. That is a game-changing competitive advantage.
This same kind of discipline is absolutely critical when you're talking about protecting major capital investments. Whether you're expanding a building, installing new equipment, or consolidating sites, these are massive financial bets with huge risks. Strong project leadership is what ensures these multi-million-dollar projects get done on time, on budget, and actually deliver the return you were hoping for without any nasty surprises.
All right, so we've seen how this works in big picture strategy and in the nitty-gritty of core operations. Let's pull this all together and talk about the end goal. Because this is about so much more than just finishing a project. It's about creating real, lasting value. Look, at the end of the day, success isn't just about getting one project over the finish line. Of course you want to maximize your ROI. But the real goal, the real win, is to build a stronger, more capable organization for the future. It's about creating a culture of accountability and trust. And that becomes your most powerful, most sustainable, competitive advantage. And that really just leaves us with one final question. A question for you to take back to your team and think about. When you look at your own organization, are you just completing projects, or are you truly building capabilities? It's a question worth asking.